But a very important feature that the Quran mentions about itself is that it is Al-Furqan. It's the criterion. It ultimately distinguishes what is right from what is wrong. So it's mentioned as a name of the Quran, like Al-Quran is the name of the book of God. Az-Zikr we've already seen, the reminder is also the name of the same book. Yet another name is Al-Furqan. It's the name of a surah, the 25th surah of the Quran. And the very first verse of that surah says, Tabarakallazi nazzala al-Furqana ala abdihi. Blessed is the one who has revealed Al-Furqan on his servant, liyakuna lil alamina nazira, so that he becomes for the entire humankind a warner. He warns the entire humanity. Obviously, it needs to be understood as to why this particular word has been used. Al-Furqan means the source that distinguishes right from wrong, what is correct from what is incorrect, what is God's verdict from what is not God's verdict. The same reality has been mentioned in the Quran in a verse I've already referred to earlier, verse 213 of Surah Al-Baqarah chapter 2. The Almighty says that when people started disagreeing with each other on religious matters, the Almighty sent His prophets, and along with them there was the book revealed. Why was the book revealed? لِيَحْكُمَ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ, so that it should decide amongst men فِيمَا اخْتَلَفُوا فِيهِ, about matters they disagreed in. So that when disagreements and disputes started amongst humans, the Almighty arranged for a book to be revealed, which was called Al-Kitab, the book, the final version of it, which is the Quran. And the purpose was that the book should decide as to what is correct from what is incorrect in religious matters. Now, in order for this reality to be practically helpful for humans, it was important that it should satisfy at least one important criterion. And that is exactly what the Quran mentions. It mentions that this book is absolutely clear. So it's mentioned in Surah Dukhan, Surah number 44, verses 1 and 2. The Almighty says, Hamim wal Kitabil Mubin. This is Surah Hamim, and this clear book is a testimony. When a chapter begins with vow, it really is an oath. God is swearing upon a certain reality, is mentioning the oath of it to prove a certain fact, to give evidence of a certain claim. So that in this particular chapter, surah, the Almighty is saying that the clear book, Quran, is a testimony, is an evidence of the fact that it's God's book. So it is so clear that when a person reads it properly, carefully, he comes to the conclusion that it's unmistakably clear, and that leads him to believe that it's God's word. There is another surah, chapter of the Quran, surah number 54, Al-Qamar, wherein the same reality has been mentioned in somewhat different words 4 times. In 54th chapter, it's verses 17, 22, 32 and 40, wherein the Almighty has mentioned وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ, and we have revealed this Quran in a manner that it is appropriate, it's apt, لِلذِّكْرِ, for reminder. فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ? Is there anybody who is prepared to be reminded? That is, the Quran is clear, is appropriate for the purpose of reminding people about the realities that the Almighty wants them to be reminded about. Is there anybody who is interested in getting reminded? Obviously, if the Quran was to become a book that was to distinguish the truth from untruth, that was to give God's verdict, it had to be clear. There was no point in revealing a book that was meant to give God's verdict or verdicts to humankind if the book itself was so difficult to understand that one needed the help of some experts to tell us as to what exactly does the book say. So the book itself clarifies that it's absolutely clear. Obviously, it doesn't really mean that you would understand the book, what it is saying, even if you don't know the language. You have to understand the language, but once you know the language, you would know that the book is clear. It's not ambiguous. It's not confusing. And even if you read its translation done by somebody who knows the language well, you would again have the same understanding that the book is making its point absolutely clear as to what is right from what is wrong.